Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Blue Eyes White Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited to show you guys this deck because we just got the True Light, and it is an absolutely busted card in this deck. It's changed its entire build. I love the way it plays now. It has so many problems fixed in it because of the True Light, giving us so much searchability and bringing back our Blue Eyes back from the graveyard. It's just what the deck needed, and I am really excited to show you guys the changes that I've made to this build. So, without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards like getting your name scripted in a single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron, along with test stands. So, without further ado, let's get straight on into this one, guys. So, first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the legendary Blue Eyes White Dragon. So what this card basically does, it is the entire deck. You have to use this card as a 3-of in this build because it's going to be revealing in your hand, especially on your Blue Eyes alternatives. You're going to be searching this card with Melody, bringing it back with now the True Light. It's just such an important card for this deck, and it is one of the most iconic cards in the entire game. We're then playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. All you have to do is reveal a Blue Eyes in your hand to special summon this card to your side of the field. It counts as a Blue Eyes monster or Blue Eyes White Dragon while it's on the field, which is really good, and in the graveyard. And then once per turn, you can target a monster opponent controls and destroy it, and this card can't attack the turn you activate that effect. I love this card. It's a fantastic card in this deck. It has to first be special summoned by revealing it, but then after that, you can do whatever you need to with this card. It's really good to make rank 8 plays with. It's great as a link play in this deck. As long as you keep 1 Blue Eyes in your hand, you're going to be totally fine playing 3 copies of this card, and it's just such a good 3-of in this deck. We then play a single copy of Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon is a very unique card that has the ability, if this card is special summoned, you can add a ritual spell or a polymerization from your deck to your hand. And I will say I might be playing both in this deck. It has the ability also that during the end phase, you can add a level 8 or higher dragon monster from your deck to your hand. And you can banish this card from the graveyard, and all level 8 or higher dragon monsters you currently control gain 1,000 attack points. And you can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and you can only activate them when Blue Eyes White Dragon is face up on your field or in your graveyard, which is totally fine because we have plenty of copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon to resolve that ability. We then play 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sage with Eyes of Blue, upon normal summon, can search from your deck to your hand a light level 1 tuner monster, and then it also has the ability, if it's in your hand, you can discard it to target an effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck, which is a very good effect just to give you an additional play in this deck to special summon out your copy of Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. We then play a single copy of the White Stone of Legend. White Stone of Legend is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use, and it's a great tuner monster in the deck as well, being a level 1 to go into your level 9 synchro plays. We then play 3 copies of the White Stone of Ancients, rounding out the Blue Eyes monsters for this section. And this card is really good because what this card does is once per turn, during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck. And you can banish this card from the graveyard to add to your hand as well a Blue Eyes monster that's in the graveyard, but you can only activate either or of this effects per turn, which is a great effect for this card. We then play a single copy of Chaos Dragon Levenair. This card is searchable by Melody of Awakening Dragons. You're usually only going to banish light monsters for this effect to be able to special summon a monster from the graveyard and defense position. Sometimes you will get the dark effect as well, that you'll get the both light and dark effect that you can destroy 2 cards on the field, but usually it's always going to be the light effect that I've gotten from playtesting. We then play 2 copies of Nebula Dragon. Nebula Dragon is a really good card in this deck as well because it has the ability that you can reveal this card and 1 level 8 or 1 other level 8 dragon monster in your hand. Special summon them both in Defense Edition, but negate their effects, and it just basically gives you an additional monster on your side of the field to make rank 8 plays if you have Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. You play a single copy of Effect Veiler because you can reveal the Effect Veiler to negate an effect by discarding this card to the graveyard, and it's searchable off your copy of your Sage. And for the last surprise tech that I'm playing in this deck, you guys are going to love this, I'm playing a single copy of Chaos Max. You might be looking at this card and going, wait, how are you going to summon that? You're just playing one. Well, there's easy ways to actually get to this card with some of the cards that I'm playing in this deck. With cards like Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon searching Polymerization and a Ritual spell, Melody of Awakening Dragons grabbing your large dragons to your hand, and then other tech cards that I'm playing in this deck. This card is extremely consistent to summon to your side of the field at 1, and you really only need 1 copy of this card in this deck. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a lot of one-ofs. We're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn, which just basically brings a monster back from the graveyard. 1 copy of Return of the Dragon Lords, because it can also bring a monster back from the graveyard. With True Light, you don't super need 3 copies of this anymore. 1 is fine. It does also give your monsters protection from being destroyed by card effects by banishing it to protect your dragons, and it revives a level 7 or 8 dragon monster from the graveyard. We play a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 lets you send a monster in your hand to the graveyard, special summon a level 1 from the deck, which is really good. 1 copy of Polymerization because it's searchable off your Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon to go into some really powerful Blue Eyes monsters that are in the extra deck. 1 copy of Dragon's Mirror because we also have some really powerful cards we're trying to go for, so this card is a great one-of in here. 1 copy of Chaos Form because you're going to be using this card to actually summon out your copy of your Blue Eyes Chaos Max, which is a fantastic boss monster for this deck. You can manage Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard to be able to summon this to your side of the field, which is really good to summon out your Chaos Max, so it's a fantastic one-of in the deck. It's very easily searched because it does say Blue Eyes White Dragon in the text, so you have a lot of different cards that can search it in the deck. We're then playing a single copy of the new Piercing the Darkness. Now this card is a great OTK piece and also lets you draw cards. Because if you normal or special summon a non-token normal monster, except during the damage step, you can draw a card. And when an attack is declared involving an opponent's monster and a monster you control that is a level 5 or higher normal monster, or was ritual, fusion, synchroed, or exe summoned using a normal monster as a material, then you can make that monster you control gain attack equal to the opponent's monster's attack until the end phase of the turn. Now basically this card just eats all the other monsters on the field, especially if you're playing Chaos Max and they throw something in defense position. It can just basically gain the attack of whatever it's swinging into, doing double piercing damage. This card is busted in this deck and is really good to let you draw a card if you normal or special summon a normal monster to your side of the field. With True Light, this card is a fantastic combo piece. I did consider playing this at 2 in the deck and dropping Dragon's Mirror completely out of the build to get you another copy of Piercing the Darkness, and this card is just so good. And giving a throwback to when Yugi won against Kaiba with Dark Paladin is just an awesome artwork as well. We then play a single copy of Cards of Consonance. You discard 1 of the eggs to be able to draw 2. We then play 2 copies of Bingo Machine Go. Bingo Machine Go is a card that I usually don't play in my Blue Eyes decks, but with True Light coming out, this card is just so good. Like, what you do with this card is you reveal 3 cards in your deck that each meets at least 1 of the credentials listed below. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 and adds it to your hand. You shuffle the rest back into the deck. So it has the ability that you have to reveal Blue Eyes monsters or spells or traps that specifically list Blue Eyes White Dragon. So you reveal basically the True Light in your deck to be able to add it from deck to hand, so you play this card as a 2-of. We then play 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragons. You discard a card to add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which can be Blue Eyes Chaos Max, your copies of Levenair, your copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and even your copies of Alternative White are searchable off this card, which is why it's such a great 3-of. We then play, for the last 3 spells, we're playing 3 copies of Trade-In. We play so many level 8s in this deck, so this card is a mandatory 3-of. You gotta play 3 copies of Trade-In because you're basically going to use this card to be able to draw additional cards. So it's a really, really good card in this deck to discard any level 8 to draw 2. So that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. And we actually play a couple traps in this deck now. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Skill Drain. Skill Drain is such a good card in this deck. You can do all sorts of stuff with Skill Drain in this deck to stop your opponent. It hurts our opponent a lot more than it hurts us, because we basically rely on really big base stat dragons in this deck that we can summon out 3,000 attack point monsters like it's nothing in this deck. So being able to negate monster effects on the field is really good to stop the opponent. One copy of the Ultimate Creature of Destruction. I have bumped this card back in because of the copy of our Bingo Machine Go. And what this card does is it lets you target a Blue Eyes monster you control. In this turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by card effects except its own, and it can't be destroyed by battle. And also your opponent's monsters it battles is destroyed at the end of the damage step. And when this card is in your graveyard, if you normal or special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. And you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. So this card is a fantastic one-of in this deck. And then we're playing the newly released, insanely powerful True Light. This is the exact card that Blue Eyes needed. I love the artwork of this deck, or the artwork of this card, because it's a throwback to the Eternal Soul. I love the way this card just fixes so many problems that Blue Eyes had. It has the ability that your opponent cannot target Blue Eyes White Dragons in your monster zones with card effects at all. And if this face-up card is sent from your spell and trap card zone to the graveyard, you destroy all monsters you control, which is totally fine, because we can recover very easily in Blue Eyes. So that effects is totally fine, and it is kind of a copy of the copy of Eternal Soul that Dark Magician has. And then you can only activate either or of the effects during either player's turn to get either of these effects, which is really good, the two effects you can pick from. You can special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or graveyard, not just your graveyard, which is really good to get monsters on your side of the field, or set a spell or trap directly from your deck that specifically lists Blue Eyes White Dragon in its text with a different name from cards you control or in your graveyard, which is why we play so many one-ofs in this deck to be able to use with True Light, from Chaos form to the Ultimate Creature of Destruction. You have a lot of really good cards in this deck to be able to immediately set on your side of the field with this card. It is a definite 3-of. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon is a great card because neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time, and then once per turn during either player's turn, when a effect is activated in the graveyard is activated, you can negate the activation, and then during either player's turn, you contribute this Synchro Summon card to special summon a Light Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck in defense position, except another copy of itself, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. We then play a single copy of Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. This card is really good because it has the ability, if this card is Synchro Summon until the end of the next turn, neither player can target dragon monsters you can currently control with card effects, and also they cannot be destroyed by card effects either. And then once per turn during this standby phase, you can target a normal dragon monster in the graveyard and special summon it. This card is really good to help you get monsters back on the field and to protect you from True Light destroying your monsters, which is really, really good. We then play a single copy of Stardust Spark Dragon. I use this card in the deck over Moonlight because I can actually protect True Light with it, because it has the ability to once per turn during either player's turn target a face-up card you control, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which is really good to just protect your True Light from getting destroyed. We then play a number 97 because you can make 2 really insanely powerful cards from number 38 and a copy of number 100. These are really good because making these in your deck just essentially guarantees you just about an OTK if your opponent has a low attack point monster on the field. Because what you're going to do with this is overlay the number 97, detach the material, summon the number 38 and number 100, and then overlay it just this way with 38 on the bottom and number 100 on the top to have a 9,000 attack point monster by detaching material depending on the amount of ranks that are on the field. You can also use this card the other way, where you summon number 38 to be able to give you a monster on the field that negates spells. We play a single copy of Dingirsu because it sends cards from the field to the graveyard upon summon, which is really good. I did consider playing another 38 in the deck to be able to go into additional play, so that is an option for you guys, or a copy of number 92, but I really wanted to play the Dingirsu for the non-targeting removal. One copy of Access Code because it's very, very easy to summon in this deck and gives you additional pops. Selene because you can actually make this card really easily, and you do play spellcasters in the deck with your copies of your Effect Veiler. I know I thought that card was a fairy for the longest time, but it's not. It's actually a spellcaster, and your copies of your Sage with Eyes of Blue. So you can actually bring cards back to Link Climb with this card, so it's a really good card in the deck. One copy of Needle Fiber because you can make Needle Fiber really easily, climb into a copy of Selene, and then climb into a copy of Access Code Talker. Even putting in a copy of Sage on the field with this card upon summon. So basically, if you can get 2 monsters on your field, you can get Access Code Talker. One copy of the Hieratic Seal because it works in literally every single deck, and it's why I love this card. That is a dragon deck. We play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh is really good because you can link summon this card with any of your Link or your level 1 monsters. A single copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. This card is really good to be able to fusion summon into, and it is basically a Dragoons out because your opponent cannot deal with this card with Dragoons because it's a 4,500 attack point monster. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and then once per turn, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it, and if this card was fusion summoned using a monster whose original name is Blue Eyes White Dragon as a material, or Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon as a material, you can target 3 cards your opponent controls instead, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Twin Burst Dragon can attack twice, and if it battles a monster, then it can banish it as well, which is really, really good, and it can't be destroyed by battle. So that rounds out the extra deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. It's a really fun deck to play with, super nostalgic. I love the way it plays, and it's a fantastic deck, especially with getting the True Light now. This card, or this deck, is just gone past what it was before, and is just absolutely crazy. The True Light has just made this deck absolutely insane, and I hope you guys give Blue Eyes White Dragon a try. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.